changes.
Hello everypony, and welcome to the Pony Talk Podcast. I am your host, Dashi101, and I am not joined by anyone today, guys. I'm doing another solo Pony Talk Podcast, which I haven't done one in a while, so kind of changing it up a bit, but just a lot of crazy things have been going on recently, you know. I could go on and on about this, but yeah. So, first of all, I wanted to say sorry that this podcast is a little bit late, but, you know, time calls, you know, events call and all that stuff, but, I'm here doing it right now for you guys. So, episode 9 of season 7, Honest Apple, we are going to be talking about today, guys. Wow. Alright, so we are first introduced. I'm just going to jump right into the episode, guys, and then I'll discuss about it. So, we jump right into with Rarity, and she's walking to not Sweet Apple Acres, Sugar Cube Corner. I knew it started with the S somewhere. But, she's with Spike, and Spike is basically carrying these flyers, posting them all around Ponyville, for Rarity's, I guess you could say, fashion show. I think it was for the fashion show, I believe. But yeah. Then we reach to Pinkie Pie, which she's at her house, wondering, what's these flyers for? Is it for a party or something like that? And, comes out, and basically Spike drops all the flyers, so they're everywhere, all over, scattered around Sugar Cube Corner, or the front outside of it. And Rarity says, "No, darling, it's a fashion show," or something like that, I believe. I know, I'm sorry, I watched this yesterday, so I'm kind of remembering then and there, but I do remember the main subject of it. Anyway, she's like, "No, but I do have some very important ponies that are going to be arriving at Carousel Boutique. First of all, we have Hoity Toity. I'm surprised I actually got that right. Tongue twister there. And photo finish, we get to see her again as well. And then these are going to be the ponies that are going to judge the fashion show that Rarity is telling Pinkie. And she said, I got one other judge, which is actually going to be a very big surprise, and no other than the most honest pony in Ponyville, if not Equestria, Applejack. And of course she's up here rolling down, making deliveries of apples, and she kind of was like, huh? What am I being pulled into now? So, yep, that starts a whole thing. And Applejack's like, Rarity, you know, I'm glad you're asking me to do this, but I'm not really into fashion. That's just not my thing. And Rarity says, you know what? You'll do fine, because what I like about you is you have that eye of telling what your honest opinion on what you think of stuff, and you'll just fit perfectly in that. And Applejack keeps on denying it, saying, no, I won't. Ignore that. And she just keeps going on and on about it. And then Rarity was like, sleep on it? Applejack's like, if it will make you happy, I guess I will. So, we have a little time flash to Sweet Apple Acres, where Applejack is now bucking apples, her normal daily schedule, and Apple Bloom is there, and she has this hat on, and her bow's like tied across it, like one of those things to keep her hat on so it doesn't fall off or anything. And Applejack's just talking to Big Mac, Apple Bloom, about the whole fashion thing, what Rarity asked her to do, and she doesn't feel like she's up for it. And Apple Bloom keeps asking, like, well, you know, maybe you should give it a shot, sis, you know? Maybe you'll like it. And Applejack's like, you know, why are you wearing your hat like that? Let me fix this for you. And she's like, no wonder why you can't see out of it. You got this thing stuck around your hat. Wear it like a hat. You know, it will work perfectly. And she sees better, and she knows what she's doing. She's not going all over the place like she was. And, yup, so Applejack, just from that few minutes of helping Apple Bloom with that situation, she was like, you know what? Maybe I could help Rarity with this. This might be actually a good, interesting thing to do, and fun, maybe. Maybe it will be fun. So, she heads over to Rarity's boutique and says, Rarity, count me in. And she's like, you really mean it? And she said, yup, I absolutely mean it. So, they're all happy, and they start. Photo finish comes in, and then it's hoity-toity. And they're over here talking like this is going to be an absolute amazing fashion show. I cannot wait for it. Do we have the ponies that are going to be showcasing the different dresses and stuff? And so we're introduced into 3 different ponies that we have never seen before. So we're getting more and more characters added on to the wonderful world of Equestria. And so, if I can remember, Lily Lace was the first one, which we saw her dress, and she was inspired by singing of the birds and stuff like that, but not so much the song or the bird itself. It was how the wind carried out the sound to make the song beautiful, and that's what her dress was inspired by. And Applejack was like, okay. And so they move on, and we're introduced into Starstreak, I believe. Yeah, Starstreak. I believe it is Starstreak. Correct me if I'm wrong. But, he's over here, making, different cool modern designs, I guess you could say. And mixing these 2 different colors, these abstract colors together, and says, oh, I'm not worried about what's going on today. It's for the future I'm thinking of. And shows off his amazing designs to the judges, and they seem to like it, and Applejack's like, I guess that's okay. I don't know. And then we move on to another pony that's kind of a little bit darker, but seems like a very nice pony, named Inky Rose. And she just basically shows us like a black kind of dress style looking thing, which looked interesting. And Applejack kind of like, if you say so, I mean, it works. And it's just all black. That's all what the dress looks like. So Applejack then steps in and gives her honest opinion about all this, because she's been quiet for a little bit, and Hoity-Toity and Photo Finish are giving their personal opinions to Rarity, what they think of these 3 contestants' dresses. And Rarity was like, Applejack, what do you think about them? And she's like, you know, I think it's too much, or this doesn't look like it works out, or anything like that. It doesn't make any sense. Why wear something, which I think I just forgot a scene. Yeah, it was, I know I'm kind of mixing this up. There were probably a couple of other things that I missed. But, okay, we're gonna go back a little bit here. Sorry about that, guys. I forgot the whole disco ball scene, that dressed, or costume, I guess you could say, as Rarity was calling it, when Hoity-Toity and Photo Finish arrived, to Rarity's boutique. Applejack started laughing, cracking up, saying it looks like a disco ball. And Photo Finish faints, as she does a lot. And Rarity says, it's okay, I guess it does look like a disco ball a little bit. And that's when we get into the contestants of the dresses and stuff. But anyway, Applejack just, as herself being the honest element, she gives her personal opinion saying, I don't think I like this. No, that doesn't look like that. That's too much, It doesn't look right. And they start to get really, really, really upset. And Rarity is kind of holding on, but she knows that Applejack's not trying to do this intentionally. It's just her opinion. So, without all that, we then go back, and I think Hoity-Toity and Photo Finish fight over a belt that basically looks identical, but in their eyes they say, oh, this one brings out more than this belt. And Applejack doesn't get it, and she gets really upset and says, they all look the same. What are you talking about? And they're like, no, this one looks more grand than this one. And it just starts a whole thing. And yeah. But I think there was something before that. I don't know. This episode was kind of a little confusing to me, how it was all set up. But I remember in one scene, Applejack feels like that she did a good job of expressing her feelings to the contestants. And Pinkie Pie's right there saying, hey, how did your first day go? And Applejack says, great, I think it went out amazing. Rarity seemed to enjoy it. And she says, oh, that's good. And then Rarity, of course, follows behind her while Applejack's heading back home. And Pinkie Pie asks the same question to Rarity, how did the day go? And she was like, I guess okay. And she's like, and Pinkie's like, music helps. Want to try? And hands her guitar or ukulele, one of the two, but I believe it was a guitar. Not the electric one, of course. But this is funny because Rarity's like, sure. And she starts jamming out literally on this thing. Just crazy, making it feel like it's an electric guitar, which it's not. It's just a wooden normal guitar with strings, and I don't think she had a guitar pick or anything with her, but when you're a pony, you don't need that. So, she expresses her feelings, and it's all fiery and basically Metallica or any of other rock and roll band you can think of with that one scene. And Rarity was like, that did help. Thanks, Pinkie. And Pinkie's mane's all up and stuff like that. So, yeah. So, day 2 on the job. Applejack goes back, still gives her honest opinion and thoughts to it, and, it kind of comes down to where the contestants really get annoyed at Applejack, for her personal thoughts. Now, mind you, Applejack is not trying to do this on purpose or anything. She's just doing this to make it feel like, her giving her personal opinion on what she thinks is best and hoping that everything will go well. So, then, I think Applejack gets fused, and I think this is where I think I put that belt story in a little too early. But, we are in with the belt, and I think Applejack gets so fed up, she says, which basically stops, and this is the climax of the episode, Applejack puts her hoof down and says, fashion is absolutely ridiculous. And every pony gasps. And I think Photo Finish then once again faints again, by what my memory goes to show. But yeah. And this is where everyone basically breaks up and says, you know what? Cancel the fashion show. I'm done. I hate how she's accusing our fashion and then calling it ridiculous. I'm out. And every pony follows along. And Rarity goes out, running out, crying, and Applejack just said, I'm just expressing my personal opinion. And then, Rarity goes crying, and Pinky's there and says, "Hey, what's wrong?" And Rarity explains the whole thing that happened. And then she says, it's all Applejack's fault too. And she goes, "What?" She's like, "You wanted me to put my personal opinion in it, and I did it." And she's like, "Yeah, well, that wasn't what they were looking for. We were looking for something else." And Applejack was like, I was just expressing my opinion. And Rarity was like, "Okay then, come with me." So they go to, I forget this pony's name, but it's a background character, if I could say background for the Lord of me. So we go to that background character's house, and she introduced Applejack to her, and Rarity says a question: "What's your opinion on apples?" And she says, "I don't like them." She says, "I think strawberries are 10 times better because you can just eat them whole, but with apples you have to eat them with just one bite, and you gotta keep on doing bites and bites until the whole apple's gone. And plus, I don't like that crunchiness of the apple," she starts explaining. And Applejack gets really, really upset, and she just closes the door, and she goes back inside. Well, Applejack's out here, and she starts turning red, and Rarity's like, "Now do you see what's going on?" And Applejack's like, "No, that ain't fair. It's alright if she doesn't like them, but to say that apples are stupid and they don't mean anything, my family works hard to make our apples amazing and pure for every pony." And then Applejack realizes what she's got herself into, and realizes the whole same thing with Rarity, what went on with fashion. And she's like, "Oh." And Rarity's like, "Yeah." And she then apologizes to her and says, "Look, Rarity, I'm sorry, I got a little too carried away, Fashion really isn't my thing. And this is why I kinda was thinking it wasn't such a good idea for me to join in with the fashion show and become a judge. I'm sorry that this happened." And Rarity says, "Well, I'm just glad that you understand now." And Rarity then goes and says, "Well, I'm going to have to clean up everything, tell the crew to stop the stage and stuff," which she actually did before she ran out and went to see Pinky, before Pinky told her what was wrong. But Rarity said, "I had to go and do something," I think. I forget what that something was. But anyway, Applejack makes it up to her, grabs all the ponies, literally ties them up, and says, "Alright, the fashion show ain't over. We're gonna do this right." So, at Carousel Boutique, we are there, and Applejack apologizes to all of them, saying, "I'm sorry that I called fashion stupid or ridiculous, and I hope you can accept my apology." And Hoity-Toity says, "So you don't," or wait, no, it wasn't Hoity-Toity, it was Photo Finish, but she said, "So you don't think fashion is ridiculous?" And Applejack's like, "No, but, I don't know that much about it, and maybe that's why I find it ridiculous." And they all agree and say, "Alright, I guess since I'm already out here and stuff, it would be rude of me to just walk out and not give another shot, so let's do it." So they all put together, and they make this thing happen. They put all these dresses up, all that, and yeah, the show's back on. Rarity comes back, and she sees what's going on. I told these people to take down the stage, and what are they doing back? I thought they were upset at me, or Applejack, for saying ridiculous. Well, Applejack explains to Rarity that she got him back because she knew that it was important to her that this fashion show went on. And this is where it gets all huggy and apologetic. And the fashion show goes on, and it's a happy ending. Well, and then I think Applejack said, again, Rarity, I'm sorry for what happened, and it was quite fun doing the fashion show with you. And she's like, I'm glad you enjoyed it. And then they come across this one dress which looks like a palm tree. It's got like coconuts. It kind of looks like a Hawaiian kind of dress kind of looking thing. I don't know what you want to call it. But Applejack's like, Rarity, is that one of your dresses? And she's like, that looks and in our mind we know Applejack's thinking it's ridiculous looking. And Rarity's like, that piece of garbage? Yeah, that was a mess up. That's not in anything. That was just a practice thing. And Applejack was like, phew, that's good. I'm not the only one. I thought that dress looked absolutely horrible too. And Rarity's like, and then they start laughing. And it's all good. Fun games for every pony. And it's all good. Alright. Wow. So, I know I probably missed a couple of things in that episode, but I just wanted to get the basic details for you guys, so we could at least discuss around it. But, for that episode, wow. And another moral lesson is taught in this, you know? We can have our opinions, but maybe some people won't be happy with them, but we need to work together to accomplish things and get them done properly and work together. I think this brings out another very strong message, which I love to see these moral episodes, like I said in the past few Pony Talk podcasts. I very did enjoy this episode. I really thought it was interesting. It definitely set out a moral lesson, like I just said. And yeah, but I want to hear your guys' opinion on this episode. Did you like it? Do you think that they could have elaborated a little more with it? Personally, I don't think they should have. It was already confusing for me to explain the whole thing, even though I watched it 2 times, just to get it straight. But I'm proud of myself for actually getting those ponies' names. I didn't get the strawberry ponies, the strawberry pony that liked a lot of strawberries and just kept eating them, but I did good at least. So yeah, but I want to hear from you guys. What did you think about this episode? Personally, I thought it was pretty good. Definitely set out something there, and I definitely think we can learn something from this in our friendships and just anyone around the world. I really did enjoy this episode, and I cannot wait for the next one. The next one looks very interesting, guys. And I'll hopefully have someone else join me with the Pony Talk podcast for next episode. But until then, guys, that's all I really have to say for this one. So thank you guys so much for watching this Pony Talk podcast. Again, sorry this one was a little bit on the late side. And school's going to be wrapping up soon, so hopefully we'll be scheduled to our regular program. It'll be nice. So, until then, guys, thank you for watching this Pony Talk podcast, and leave all your questions and comments below of what you thought of this podcast or the episode in particular. And until then, guys, we will see you again in the next Pony Talk podcast, guys. Bye!